Hello, my name is Silver, and just recently I've become interested in creepy things in video games and creepypasta. I started watching YouTube series about these such things, two of them being creepy gaming and haunted gaming, both of them focusing on creepy things involving games. One day I logged into YouTube and saw a new episode of Creepy Gaming. The episode was titled Sonic CD Hidden Message. I thought this was strange. What could it possibly be? I clicked on the video and watched it. The commentator talks about how in Sonic CD you can use a sound test to access various cheats, such as debug mode. But he also talks about a certain combination of numbers that will get you to a creepy picture of Sonic, and Japanese text along with the US boss music. I found that picture both creepy and disturbing. Why would Sega put something this disturbing in a Sonic game? He talks about why the picture is there, and he concludes that it's an anti-piracy screen because the Japanese text reads, "Fun is infinite. Sega Enterprises. Majin." I was very interested in the screen and decided I want to see it for myself. I could have just gotten an emulator and the ISO, but that only proved the theory that it is an anti-piracy screen. So I decided I'd dig up my old Sega CD from storage and try it on my own copy of Sonic CD. I grabbed my keys and headed out the door. I got in my car and prepared for a long drive because my storage space was in another city. After my long drive, I finally got to my storage space. I opened it to find all of my old stuff. Boxes filled with old VHS tapes, video games, and board games from when I was young. I spent nearly an hour blowing dust off boxes and digging through them till I found the box containing my Sega CD. I finally found it under my old Super NES. I put it in my car along with its cords and my copy of Sonic CD. I drove all the way back home, and once I got there, I unplugged my Wii from my TV and plugged in my Sega CD. I put in the Sonic CD disc and waited for it to load. Once I got to the title screen, I entered a cheat to open up the sound test without completing the special stages. Once it opened, I entered the specific numbers to get the screen to appear. I sat there for a bit. Then pressed start. A sound of confirmation was heard, and there it was. The creepy picture followed by the equally creepy music. I stared at it for a bit, taking in that creepy Sonic and all of its creepiness. Then I got enough of it and pressed start again. Then the screen faded out and brought me to another picture with a close-up of the creepy Sonic. Just one, and more Japanese text. This shocked me because it wasn't mentioned in the video. So I got my iPhone and tried searching around for this picture, but no result. I tried translating the text using Google Translate. The translation read, "Where do you think you're going?" After reading that, I was scared. The game seemed to be addressing the fact that I was quitting the screen. I tried pressing buttons, but nothing worked. After a while, I heard a confirmation sound, and I was taken into the game. But something was off. This normal Sonic was replaced with the creepy Sonic. I was alarmed at why this was happening. The start button didn't do anything, so I decided to try another Easter egg that if you make Sonic stand still for 3 minutes, he'll jump off the screen and you'll get a game over. But after 3 minutes, Sonic looked at the screen and shook his head as if he were saying no. Then he wagged his finger at me and pointed to the right. I decided to walk right. After a few seconds of walking, the game took over and Sonic walked slowly as Amy came into the shot. She walked up to Sonic, and a question mark appeared above her head. Sonic then jumped on her and the screen blacked out. When it returned, there was just a puddle of blood where Amy once stood, and she was gone. I tried to stop myself from vomiting, and Sonic looked back at the screen and pointed to the right again. I pressed right slowly, and he walked. After a minute of going down a straight line, it took over again as Eggman showed up. He looked at Sonic and he also had a question mark appear above him. Sonic then wagged his finger, and the boss music began playing. I grabbed the controller expecting to fight Eggman, but I couldn't do anything. Then Sonic jumped on Eggman and the screen faded away again. Once it returned, Eggman was gone, and only a puddle of blood remained where he once was. I started freaking out, and I got up from my chair and walked up to my Sega CD to turn it off. But when I got up, Sonic started moving and Robo-Sonic appeared. He stood there, and then the Chaos Emerald surrounded Sonic, and he turned super and rushed right through Robo-Sonic. Metal flew all over, and oil was on the ground. Sonic then faced the screen and wagged his finger as he shook his head. I turned off my Sega CD and my TV screen went black, but all of a sudden I heard a loud scream coming from the speakers. And I looked at my TV only to see a close-up of the creepy Sonic's face, with the same Japanese text reading, "Where do you think you're going?" I ripped the cords out of the outlets and it stopped. I threw my Sega CD back into the box and drove back to the storage room. This time, I labeled the box, "Don't open, ever." I tossed it in there. I went home and tried looking this up, but there was nothing to be found. Even to this day, I'm not sure if somehow I got a hacked copy back when I first bought it when the game launched. But all I know is, I'll never play Sonic CD again.